How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another video, and I know what you're thinking. A Canucks Land video on a Saturday. What is going on? Well, the next slot that I had available was next Friday, and I want to do my playoff predictions, and I don't want to wait to upload them until well into the first round, so we're hopping in and getting this done before the first round starts so that it's fresh, it's new, no series, no games have been played, and I could come in this with a fresh mindset. No games are influencing my decision. So without further ado, let's hop into my NHL bracket challenge here, as we'll start off with the Western Conference, as the first game we're going to look into is the game the Vancouver Canucks had a little bit of effect in beating the Los Angeles Kings and forcing them into the wild card 2 spot against the Colorado Avalanche. Now, I think this is probably the farthest discrepancy when it comes to a series. Colorado is levels above LA. LA, I think, is the only playoff team, if you switched to a 3-2-1-0 format in terms of points, they would actually drop in points because of how many overtime losses and shootout losses they had. I think they had 20 on the year. So I think this will have, as Thomas Drance said on Canucks Talk, I think this might have, or it might have been Jamie Dodd. I don't know. I can't tell the difference between their voices. But I think this will have a 5 overtime, like an insane overtime game. But I do think Colorado will take it in the first round. I guess we pick the games after. I don't think LA has a chance. I really like seeing Kopitar in the playoffs one last time. I wish they had a more favorable matchup, but Colorado, I feel like, will handle them pretty easily. We'll get into the games later, but the next series up is probably the series I am most excited for in terms of what is going to be played, the hockey that is going to be played on the ice, as it is the Central Division matchup between the second and third seed Dallas Stars and the Minnesota Wild. This is going to be an awesome series. This is going to be a brutal war, and I see it going all the way. I see it going 7 games, maybe 6, maybe a team's able to pull it out a little bit earlier, but I see this being a back and forth, very good, very bloody matchup. Not actually bloody, but, you know, they're going to put it all out on the ice. But I have the Dallas Stars. I've been always high on the Dallas Stars, and I feel like they're almost there to get over the hump, and I feel like a full season of Mikko Rantanen, him being able, I know he played really good in the playoffs for them last season, and they made it to the Western Conference Finals yet again and lost, but I feel like a full season of Mikko Rantanen will definitely help them out. He'll be more acclimated and maybe even better, and I think that he'll have an insane first round. I think that Dallas just has it. I know they have some injuries in Minnesota. They have Quinn Hughes now. I just don't think it's their. I don't think it's their year yet. And it is a little bit of a bias because I want our draft pick to be a little bit lower. Minnesota losing kind of drops the draft pick, but I'm all in on Dallas. This is definitely not taking over in terms of where I want the draft pick to be. I was going to pick Dallas no matter what. The next series we have the Vegas Golden Knights against the Utah Mammoth, and I'm going to be going with my first upset here because I think the Vegas Golden Knights, although they have been very good under Rick Tocchet, it has been against a bunch of easy teams. They played the Vancouver Canucks twice, the Calgary Flames. I'm forgetting the other teams that they did play against, and although Torch record's good, like playing those easy games, and those games against Vancouver were pretty close. They weren't that far apart. Meanwhile, the Utah Mammoth absolutely destroyed the Vancouver Canucks in the few games that they played this season. Clayton Keller looks awesome. Dylan Guenther and Logan Cooley provide elite offense firepower. And the goaltending for Vegas is very, very iffy. I don't know how it's going to be. Aiden Hill, I think it's Aiden Hill, Kirschman, Carter Hart. Just haven't really been able to figure it out, so we'll see how the goaltending ends up for Vegas, but I think if the goaltending does not improve, it's going to be Utah moving to the second round, which is also a team that I'm rooting for because I was a big believer that the Arizona team could actually make a push and that they were actually doing the right things, and they moved to Utah. Sadly, Arizona doesn't get to reap the benefits of it, but I'm really still excited for this team, and I really want to see them to beat Vegas. I just don't like Vegas as well, but also I think those factors are big, and I feel like Utah can definitely take advantage of them. Next up, we got probably going to be the highest scoring series. It's probably going to be a lot of above 6-goal games, as we have the Edmonton Oilers against the Anaheim Ducks. Now, I always go against the Edmonton Oilers in my past few brackets, and usually it's against the LA Kings, and I was always wrong. I was pulling for LA to beat the Oilers in the first round. One of those was because I thought LA was the easier matchup for Vancouver in the second round, but I will not be going against the Oilers. As much as I do want to go against the Oilers, I do think that they're going to be able to pick apart and take advantage of this Anaheim Ducks team that is very young and has a very veteran blue line who might not be able to keep up with, Connor McDavid's speed and just be able to keep up. Even if they don't have Draisaitl, I still think they take this series, but I still think that it's going to go a little bit farther because the goaltending for Edmonton has been a little weaker since they got rid of Stuart Skinner, which, surprise, surprise, I actually kind of didn't think that would happen. I thought Jari would be a little bit better, but it does kind of make sense because Skinner has been very good for the Oilers at times, and there's definitely games where he helped them move to their back-to-back Stanley Cup Finals appearances. Now, in terms of games, I'm going to go 5 for the Colorado Avalanche versus the LA Kings. I'm going to go 7 in a brutal war for the Dallas Stars and the Minnesota Wild. For Vegas and Utah, I'm going to go 6, and I will do the same for Edmonton and Anaheim. So that is the first round complete. So let's move on to the second round because I want to get this done a little bit quicker, and our first series up is the Buffalo Sabres versus the Boston Bruins. Now, I think the Bruins have definitely the Bruins have a lot more playoff experience. We don't know how that's going to factor in. This could very much be an upset, but I am rooting. I think that they have enough players that can play a playoff style that the Buffalo Sabres will beat the Boston Bruins. It won't be a quick series. I definitely think that it's going to go 6 or 7 games. But yeah, I think the Buffalo Sabres are able to pull it off, and they're going to get a second round matchup against the winner of the next series as we move into the Tampa Bay Lightning versus the Montreal Canadiens. Now, this is the series I am most excited for. The Montreal Canadiens are the team that I'm adopting and cheering for because my best buddy's a Montreal Canadiens fan, and they're also just so fun to watch. And they're one of my favorite teams, just in general. I really like Carey Price. He was a reason he attracted me a bit to that team with how good he was, and it's just hoping that they were able to find the players to put in front of them that they would be able to win a cup with Carey Price, and they were so close in 2021, was it? So yeah, I'm rooting for Montreal, but I have to say, this Tampa team, this team with Nikita Kucherov, just how good he is. I want to pick Montreal to win, but in my heart and in my brain, I mean, I'm picking the Tampa Bay Lightning. I think they just have the experience. Although I think that this could be the season Montreal breaks through. I think it's going to go 7 games, by the way. If they take Tampa Bay to 7 and lose, I'm not going to take that as a failure because Tampa Bay just is such a good, experienced playoff team, and they brought a lot of guys back they brought a couple of guys back that they had for that Stanley Cup, those Stanley Cup runs, and I'm trying to think, I say a couple, but I think it was just Yanni Gourde. As we move into the next series with the Carolina Hurricanes versus the Ottawa Senators. And I think that this is the closest matchup with a wild card team that there is. I mean, you can point to Vegas and Utah. I think that Utah has actually a significant advantage just based off their way they've been able to pot goals and just the goaltending for Vegas not being great. I think that this series could actually go very far, and Ottawa isn't as bad of a wild card team. I still think, obviously they're in the playoffs, they're a good team. I just think that they're one of the better wild card teams, and I think that Carolina, although a very good team, just has their struggles in the playoffs. And are they going to be able to get over the hump? Are they not going to be able to get over the hump? I think for Ottawa, though, they are not going to be able to stall Carolina's push to a potential Stanley Cup appearance or finals win. I think that Carolina will pull this out, but it's going to go far yet again. Like I say, a lot of these Eastern Conference series are going to go far as we move into the last one with the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Philadelphia Flyers. And as much as I do like this Philly team, it is very defensively exciting, and I think that it's really nice to see what Rick Tocchet has done over there. I'm not going to call him quit Tocchet, honestly. I see why he left, but I can't go against Sid the Kid. I got to pick the Pittsburgh Penguins, and you know what? I'm going to pick 6, 7, 7, 7. I think these are going to be bloodbaths. I think these are going to be very, very long series. I think they're going to be good series. But I do think that these teams are going to be able to pull it off. As we move into the second round, we are winding down here to the end. We're not even that close. We're not even halfway in selections. Oh no, we're just above halfway in selections made. But without further ado, let's get into it as we have Colorado versus Dallas in the second round, which is going to be, Dallas goes from playing Minnesota in an insane series to playing Colorado in what could possibly be another insane series. Unfortunately, though, for Dallas, I do think that that series against Minnesota might wind them down a little bit, and they might be, not in a great position to face the Colorado Avalanche. I still think this series is going to go far, but I'm going to pick the Colorado Avalanche to win and move on to the conference finals. I want to see Dallas go all the way, but unfortunately, after that first round series against Minnesota, having to face a team like Colorado, I just don't think it's their year yet again. We move on to the next series in the West as the Utah Mammoth versus the Edmonton Oilers in the second round. I think this is where Utah stalls out, and as much as I don't want to see Edmonton go to the conference finals, I have to look at it in a non-biased manner. And although I think Edmonton's goaltending can struggle, and I think that if Utah is able to use their effective goal scorers, they could, really pound Edmonton and force them to catch up. But if there's a team that's going to catch up in terms of scoring, it's going to be the Edmonton Oilers, especially with Connor McDavid. As we move into the next series, the Buffalo Sabres take on the Tampa Bay Lightning, and this is where Buffalo's miracle season comes to an end. I think the Tampa Bay Lightning are going to move on, and they're going to go to the conference finals. Although I think Buffalo is playoff ready, and I think Buffalo has a bunch of players that can play playoff style, and they're going to probably succeed in the playoffs, I don't think that they can beat the experience that Tampa Bay has, and I think that they will fall in the second round to a more experienced Tampa Bay Lightning. As we move into the last series, it's the Pittsburgh Penguins versus the Carolina Hurricanes, and yet again, another miracle season. We did not expect the Penguins to be, let alone in the playoffs. I didn't expect them to make it to the second round, even though, I picked them to go to the second round. They actually haven't made it there yet. I still think that Carolina has it in them to move to the Eastern Conference Finals, and I don't think the Penguins are going to be able to get over the hump as much as I would love to see it. I just don't realistically see it, as we have the conference finals of Colorado versus Edmonton, Tampa versus Carolina, and I feel like I've seen this before, but I feel like we'll have different outcomes as, the Western Conference Finals is what we'll start with, and if I had to pick from these two teams, as much as I would think the Edmonton Oilers can make it to 3 straight Stanley Cup finals, I don't think their goaltending is going to stop the Avalanche, and I think they're going to roll past them pretty quickly. I think this might end up being a very, very quick series like it was in years past, where the Avalanche swept the Oilers, when the Oilers were a little bit less experienced in the playoffs. But I don't know if the goaltending, unless some great goaltending games show up for the Edmonton Oilers, I don't think they have what it takes to beat this star-studded Colorado Avalanche team. So I think that the Colorado Avalanche are going to be moving to the Stanley Cup Finals. And the next series, the Tampa Bay Lightning versus the Carolina Hurricanes, the doubts I have in Carolina makes me want to pick Tampa. And honestly, without kind of saying it, going into this, Tampa is kind of my favorite to win the Cup, which is why I have to pick them to move on to the Stanley Cup Finals to face the Colorado Avalanche, and we're going to get a rematch of Florida, Vegas. So Florida was 25-24, Vegas 2022 Stanley Cup Finals, and the Colorado Avalanche and the Tampa Bay Lightning. Hopefully I got that right, because I did count, but it's going to be a reverse. I think that the Tampa Bay Lightning are going to win the Stanley Cup. And predict the number of goals scored in the Stanley Cup Finals. You know what? I will do that later, as I have Tampa rounding it out. I need to do a little bit of looking back in math before I pick how many goals. Actually, no, I think I say 52. I think I usually say 52. But I also think that that's a football thing that I also pick in terms of total points. So, without further ado, that is it for this one. I think the Tampa Bay Lightning are going to win the Stanley Cup. I don't want to see it happen, but I think realistically that is what might happen. But without further ado, that is it for this one. If you're a Canucks fan and you enjoy this kind of content, hit that subscribe button, leave a like down below, and comment what you guys think about my predictions. And also, the fundraiser that I have going on will start officially on Monday. But as of right now, before it starts, we are already above halfway to our goal. As I do a little refresh, we're at $281. Thank you to who donated. Carson Yee donated $31. Thank you so much. And Anonymous donated $250. I unexpectedly, it was just so unexpected. I saw that. Thank you so much. Whoever you are, You are a hero. Like, I can't put into words how much this means. Thank you so much. And if you guys are wanting to donate to help BC Children's Hospital, the link will be in the description. Please go donate. Or if you don't have any money to donate, just spread the word about this charity fundraiser. Thank you guys so much. Thank you so much who have donated. And without further ado, the video on your right is the video from Friday. The video on your left is the video from Wednesday. Subscribe's right down under there. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.